What's going on, everybody? I'm Mr. Bitcoin Maxi. We are all Bitcoin Maxis. Now, tonight's episode, I want to dive into some things that I found were interesting and just overall what's going on a little bit with the news about the war in Ukraine and Russia and NATO and the US and what it means for Bitcoin. All right. So, right now we're seeing that Bitcoin is around 109,000, around $500 basically. And so right now, I'm going to tell you all the truth that I have been seeing just nothing but content online that's saying World War III fears, World War III fears. And it's crazy too, because around right now, right, if we see gold and silver, they've been rallying. They've been rallying pretty hard, right? And so Bitcoin is seen as digital gold. So you would think that, well, why is Bitcoin not rallying? Why are we seeing a dip in Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin is volatile. We know that. And gold and silver are less volatile. And so I Googled World War III and Bitcoin in case it happens to break out, right? Because we never know what's going to happen tomorrow. It seems like the war in Ukraine and now NATO and the US are getting more involved. And so it seems like there's a lot of fear with World War III potentially happening. And I think that if World War III does eventually happen, we're going to see Bitcoin rally. We're going to see Bitcoin possibly be really volatile in the event that that does happen. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but we've only seen things start escalating more and more and more, okay? And so Bitcoin risks $94,000 drop, pricing bands signal potential downturn. Now, Bitcoin continues in dull trading, ranging between 108,645 and 110,369, following a sharp drop to a low of $108,000, pretty much $108,624 on Thursday. Bitcoin slightly rebounded on Friday, coinciding with the release of PCE data and a major options expiry. However, its gains could not be sustained. All right. Now, right now, there's so much stuff going on in the world. We have inflation, we have the Fed cut rates, and usually, like I told you in my other video, we will not see Bitcoin rally. We will not see Bitcoin just go up. We're going to see Bitcoin go down. And I told you all that this was coming. And the issue is that now, besides the Fed here in the United States cutting the rates, we still have 2 more rate cuts coming in October and then in December. And so I think during this time, the holiday seasons that are going to be coming, we're going to see a lot of price fluctuation, especially with the fact that we might see a possible escalation in the war. I seen the other day that it was a video news where Russia was coming close with their jets to the Alaskan coastline. And so things are starting to escalate. They're getting, the tensions are rising. And the issue too with that is that now people are saying that, well, it's because the Ukraine war was pretty much just a distraction, because now China and Russia wants to back China, Russia wants to back China and going into Taiwan. It's all about tech, okay? And so with all that being said, I Googled World War III and Bitcoin. So potential effects of a major global conflict, such as a hypothetical World War III, on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are speculative and multifaceted. A major conflict would likely produce significant market volatility, disrupt technological infrastructure, and accelerate shifts in global power dynamics, all of which would influence Bitcoin's price and its perceived value as a safe haven asset. Now, Bitcoin, like I said, is seen as digital gold. So, market volatility and safe haven debate. The effect of a major war on Bitcoin's price is not guaranteed to be positive. While some investors and analysts have positioned Bitcoin as digital gold, a reliable hedge against geopolitical instability, evidence for this claim has been inconsistent. Positive impact, however, in times of extreme geopolitical, I can't even talk tonight, horrible turmoil, some investors, particularly those in developing countries with unstable currencies may turn to decentralized cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin to protect their wealth from inflation or financial controls. Now, here's where I'm going to give my opinion on this. Now, if a major war breaks out, okay, and I'm not saying it is, but how are you going to leave the country? You're going to have a bunch of gold and silver and you're going to try and get on a plane? No. The better thing, in my opinion, would be to do is hold Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is still so early. And in my opinion, especially with right now the price at $109,000, to me, it's a good time to get in, especially with the fear like this, because when the market tends to be down like this, that's when you go and make your gains long term. And now with the fear and greed index right here, right, where we see fear, for me personally, that's when I like to go in and I like to dollar cost average a little bit more. Now, when we start seeing it get around here and here, I usually ease off the gas a little bit. And that's because that the market is hot. And so when you're putting money into it while the market's hot, you're going to get less Bitcoin for your money. Now, I always tell you all that you can't time the market, but being in the market and consistently dollar cost averaging is good. However, you can take advantage really well of things like this. All right. And so Bitcoin market faces clean slate. According to Glassnode, the largest options expiry on Deribit has reset positioning with BTC settling 109 versus 110 max pain. The market now faces a clean slate as expiries already happened. Now it might be crucial to watch open interest, term structure, skew, volume spreads, and flows to gauge sentiment. BTC options open interest fell from 505,000 BTC to 355,000 positions rolled off with expiry triggering a reset. Okay, so a climb in open interest in the coming days might be crucial to know where traders seek new exposure and their sentiment as BTC options point to short-term caution. And so things like this is why I really recommend everybody to not be trading Bitcoin. You can make some money in Bitcoin. By all means, you can make some money trading Bitcoin. However, it's risky. And the best thing to do is to dollar cost average instead of trying to lose money by logging and shorting Bitcoin. Okay. So I want to come on and make this quick video on my thoughts. And if we see more Bitcoin, or if we see the price go down a little bit more, I am personally going to go in and buy more. That's why when world events, and possibly, hopefully not, but World War III happens and things escalate between NATO, the US, China, Russia, it's good to take advantages of things like that. However, I don't wish war upon anybody because it's just not good for the world. And, of course, there's lives that are at stake. However, this is the world, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that we are running into. Whenever you have an issue where people are trying to get ahead and they can't, where they're working 2 or 3 jobs and they still can't sustain living, it's just things have to change. And people cannot sustain life that way. Life cannot be sustained that way. People cannot live like that. It creates extreme poverty. People are going to just lose their minds. And in my opinion, this is a way, Bitcoin is really a way for people to get out of this for the long term. However, it's important to understand that being disciplined and knowing where your money is going towards bills, how much money you're making, and maximizing your cash flow is good. Because if you maximize your cash flow, then you can go in there and create more generational wealth. And if World War III, hopefully it doesn't, but if things start escalating, Bitcoin is already volatile. We know that because Bitcoin is early. Bitcoin is so early compared to, gold and silver, which gold's already right now almost at 4K. It's crazy because I remember seeing silver back when it was when I started looking into silver, I started seeing it like $23, $24. I think that was a couple of years ago during the last bull run when Bitcoin was trading at 64. I remember seeing silver when it was like 24, 25, or $28 or something like that. And look at how much it is now. $46, which is crazy. So I want to let you guys know and give my thoughts on this, that everybody is still so early to Bitcoin. And in my opinion, it's better to buy Bitcoin because it's early. And a lot of people right now are looking to gold and silver, and they're not really looking at Bitcoin as much, in my opinion, at least from what I've been seeing. I know some people might disagree with me. However, this is just me personally, what I've been seeing online and videos, people I know in my personal life that are talking. They're looking into safe haven assets, and they're not really going to Bitcoin. They're going to gold and silver. Now, am I saying gold and silver are a bad investment? No. However, the returns, in my opinion, for Bitcoin are a lot better. This is why I am a Bitcoin maximalist. I love Bitcoin, but it takes a certain type of mentality and a certain type of mindset to go in there and really study Bitcoin, to really understand what Bitcoin is. And it took me hours and hours and hours to understand what Bitcoin is. It took me, to be honest, it was like 2 years that it took me just diving in and how Bitcoin worked. And once I started seeing how it worked, I was fascinated. I loved it. Okay. So I want to come on and make this video. I got a microphone, so I will be doing more videos like this in addition to my outside videos. And for all of you subscribers, I appreciate each and every one of you. To the new subscribers we've gotten this week, thank you so much. And if you're new here, consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you made it this far, thank you. And I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day.